everybody, so we're going to talk about star signs today. Now, our video of today is Aquarius star sign. We are only focusing on Western astrology, so that is the 12 zodiac houses that we have. Now, every few years or so, this whole thing about Ophiuchus comes around. So what is Ophiuchus? Ophiuchus is a star alignment, much like our normal star signs. However, if we added in every single star alignment into our zodiac houses, we would be 1,000 different star signs for one day. So that's why Western astrology just sticks to the 12 houses. So let's talk about Aquarius. Now, Aquarius star sign starts from the 20th of January and ends on February the 18th. This actually makes it the shortest month star sign that we have in the houses. Now, it's the 11th star sign in our zodiac circle, and its element is air, which people do get confused about because aqua is water. Their birthstones are amethyst and garnet, hematite, sugarlight, and amber. And their power colour is blue, and any kind of shades of blue, to be honest, like turquoise and such. Those born under the Aquarius star sign can be seen as really mysterious and a bit of an enigma. And people that aren't an Aquarius will feel like they just don't get their personalities. So as I previously said, Aquarius's element is air, and people do get confused because aqua does actually mean water. However, let's take a look at the Aquarius symbol. It is that of the water bearer. It is a person carrying water, and it symbolizes the carrying and the pouring out of knowledge, and that's what air really represents. It deals with thinking and ideas and information and knowledge, and in ancient times people would meet at the well in order to share their experiences and any knowledge and information that they were currently aware of. It was like the hubbub of learning. And of course, when you're going to a well, you're carrying water. Aquarius are known to be quite emotionally detached. Now, water really represents emotions. So this is why you will find water signs such as Pisces to be quite highly emotional people. However, Aquarius carries those emotions. They bear them. This isn't to say that they don't have emotions. Of course they do. But they're very, very good at separating themselves from those emotions. And it's where they get this trait of being like quite cold. Aquarius are really idealistic, but it's also a really rare sign. It is the shortest month of the year, so therefore it holds less birthdays within it. However, there are a lot of famous Aquarian people. You have the likes of Alicia Keys and Ashton Kutcher, as well as Bob Marley and Galileo. So really quite heavily influential people as well, and very humanitarian. If you have a look, Bob Marley was an advocate for world peace. Ashton Kutcher is going on for human trafficking and all things like that. They're real people that strive to make humans and the world that we live in better. But what they lack in numbers, they do make up in craziness. Aquas, funnily enough, even though being known for being quite cold, they're very, very protective over people that they love. Now, not in the same way like very jealous Scorpios would, but they do unconditionally put other people first. It really does come from their compassion. Their greatest hope is to save the world and make it a better place. And it isn't for the celebrity status or the badge of honour that would come for that, but it's for the sake of the world. Aquarians are one of the most inventive signs of the zodiac, and this is due to the influence of Uranus. Now, Uranus is the great awakener. It is the planet of invention. And it's really not surprising that the inventor of the light bulb and the movie projector, Thomas Edison, is an Aquarius. They're very, very good at devising ways and means of completing any project, no matter how hard. Aquarius constellation is located in the southern hemisphere. and it lies in a region of the sky which is sometimes referred to as the sea, mainly because it holds all the names associated with water, like Pisces and Cetus, the whale, and such. It was found by the Greek astronomer Ptolemy in the 2nd century. It's actually the 10th largest star sign in the constellation in the sky, and it occupies an area of 980 square degrees. Aquarius is actually depicted as a young man or woman, but generally it's male in Greek, pouring the water, or sometimes it's actually shown as nectar, from an amphora, the large curved jugs that they have, into the mouth of the southern fish. And now the southern fish is our constellation, our star sign, Pisces. So Aquarius is actually associated with Ganymede. This is the son of King Tros in Greek mythology. Now, Ganymede was a beautiful Trojan youth who caught the eye of Zeus, as usual. Which prompted Zeus to disguise himself as an eagle, because that makes sense, and which is actually represented by the constellation Aquila. Now, disguised as an eagle, Zeus carried off Ganymede to Olympus, to the mountain of the gods, to then be a cupbearer to the gods. There are different versions of this story. Some people say that the constellation represents Deucalion, who is the son of Prometheus, who survived the Great Flood along with his wife Pyrrha. In Babylonian mythology, Aquarius is identified as Gula, the Great One, the god A himself. And in Egyptian tales, the constellation is said to represent the River Nile. So the Aquarius star sign is actually ruled by the planet Uranus, and this gifts the Aquarius with a lot more personality traits. It makes them highly creative and very, very innovative. Now, fun fact, previously, before astronomers actually knew that Uranus existed, they believed Aquarius to be ruled by the planet Saturn. Having Uranus as your ruling planet means you have certain expectations of life. You expect there to be some form of social norms, some guideposts and some traditions. However, following them is actually pretty optional for an Aquarius. Aquarius children personality traits are exactly the same as an adult's Aquarius, and this is where they get their childlike thing from. They're infinitely curious and they need freedom. They need to explore their surroundings and move around. Their creativity needs really stimulating. It's such a good idea to get them into arts and reading and writing and games, and their imaginations are incredible. They can make anything out of nothing. Let's actually talk about some of the normal traits of an Aquarius sun sign. Aquarius really like to think for themselves. They have very open minds, and when it comes to anything or everything, they're pretty chilled and they're happy to accept what's in front of them. They are atrocious liars. If they find themselves in a situation where telling the truth is not possible, they'll tend to actually just stay quiet. They do not lie convincingly, and they actually have the perfect look of guilt, even when they're possibly telling the truth as well. However, they live and breathe the world of music. Life is just better with a soundtrack. Whether it's playing their own instruments or sticking in a set of headphones and forgetting the world, they just connect so much better with music. As Aquarius Bob Marley once said, there is one good thing about music. When it hits you, you feel no pain. They really don't like overbearing personalities and big egos. They will tend to keep their distance and ignore someone that is just too much for them. They don't believe anybody is better than somebody else in this life. So they like to give everybody the opportunity. And if somebody is being very egotistical and coming across like they are God's gift, they will absolutely cut them off. They're very careful with who they befriend. If you do become a friend of an Aquarius, feel really good about yourself, to be honest. They're incredibly picky with who they have in their group. Basically, it's down to their loyalties. They are the most loyal sign in the zodiac. They are so strong. And they get really hurt when they're not offered the same loyalty back. And it can be simply put as somebody is saying something about a friend and they will protect that friend. However, if somebody said something to that friend about them and they didn't get the same back, then that would absolutely destroy an Aquarius. They would feel so hurt by that. So that's why they're very, very picky with who they do befriend. Now, previously, we said about how cold they are. They are quite emotional, but they will not display it. They will cry their eyes out silly to some ridiculously stupid movie, but they will stand strong at a funeral. And when it's needed, they will absolutely step back from their own emotions and just make sure everybody else is okay. They are incredibly independent. They choose to rely solely on themselves rather than others. This comes down to being self-sufficient and supporting their own choices. And it's funny because it's not necessarily just people. You will find a lot of Aquarius won't drink energy drinks for energy because their own body should be able to energize them. They won't take sleeping tablets for sleep because their own body should be able to sleep. Which is really hard for Aquarius. They tend to not sleep at all. They're the big insomniacs. Their brains just don't know how to turn off, but they won't help themselves either. Are frequently misunderstood. They are quite eccentric and very out there people, and it does mean that others tend to read them quite wrong. They can find themselves upsetting others with opinions which they don't actually mean to do. That's just how they are. They really embrace change, and it makes them very unpredictable people. They hate stagnant waters. Call it itchy feet. They dislike routine, and you'll find they're very good at hopping from jobs if they haven't got something that's stimulating for them. They won't stay in a 9-to-5 boring routine job. They have to be in something that changes daily. So you will tend to find Aquarius always kind of in between jobs and not really knowing about where they're going next because they just need something different. They are so rebellious. So rebellious. They will not be told what to do. To the point that if they're about to do something, say, I don't know, clean the kitchen, and then somebody asks them to clean the kitchen, they won't do it. The best way to get an Aquarius to do something is kind of mention it once and then let them do it in their own time. The more you try to bully an Aquarius or push an Aquarius into doing something, the less they're going to do it. And it can be the simplest of things, like putting their dish in the sink or picking their washing up off of it, all things like that. Mention it once, they will do it. They will do it in their own sweet time. But when they're doing it, get out of their way. Especially if it's something like cleaning the house, just move, just leave, just go, just let them get on with it and do it. But they will not associate with anyone who believes, anyone that they believe is going to try and control them. So the likes of Scorpios and Leos, who are quite controlling and jealous people, they won't want to know them. They learn really quickly from past mistakes, and you will very, very rarely see an Aquarius make the same mistake twice. They are very good at noticing red flags. So say they've dated a narcissist, they will never date a narcissist again. They will spot one a mile away. Anything like that. They are very, very quick at learning from their mistakes. They are incredibly innovative. They aren't afraid of doing things exactly the way they want to do. They possess this really unique outside the box kind of thinking. They can always come up with ideas that others kind of necessarily wouldn't see. They are great listeners. They tend to have some damn good advice as well. And even if they don't quite know where this advice is coming from, it will be a good one. their wisdom is expansive. So if you ever do need guidance, hit an Aquarius up. They are the best place to start. They're also incredibly fast learners. They are like sponges. They will soak up everything around them as long as it holds their interest. They just like to lap up the knowledge of all there is to that subject and then become somewhat of an expert and teach upon it. They do have really strong opinions and they will absolutely definitely voice them. They have no qualm in rocking the boat. But they are also very forgiving, sometimes too forgiving, but know that once they have cut you off, there is no coming back. Once they're done, they are done. They don't repeat their past mistakes, and they are quite happy to pull others up on their faults loudly and say, hey, no, I don't think that's right. They are such an advocate for human respect that if they feel like you are being out of order, then they would damn well tell you about it. They are one of the few signs who dream massive, but they also have the means to get there. Sometimes they are downright weird, but the way that they're thinking and the way it's going in their head works for them, even though it would probably make no sense to anybody else. But they do tend to do well in whatever it is that they're trying to achieve. An Aquarius in love is an absolute force to be reckoned with. Now, they are very slow to commit. They need to be really secure, both mentally and physically. And you will have to give them this level of freedom that they need. But once committed, their really deep romantic tendencies just kind of makes them quite intense lovers. So their most compatible signs are Sagittarius, Libras, Geminis and Aries. And their least compatible signs are Taurus, Scorpio, Cancer and Virgos. So, I mean, altogether, Aquarius makes great therapists. They make great guides, they make great teachers, friends and lovers. If you can accept them exactly the way they are, never expect an Aquarius to change because they know who they are. They don't need your help. They are not ones to bow and bend to others, and they are more than happy in their own skin and in their own company than any other sign. So if they prefer it, they've got no problem walking alone. Solemn Signal Aquarii. So this has been the 11th video of my zodiac sun signs. I will be moving on to doing moon signs and rising signs, so please make sure you keep an eye out for those and check them out when they're out.